welcome back to the channel, guys. I don't know if any of this is recording or not, so I'm just gonna try, and if it doesn't, well, we'll re-record. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a quick review. Actually, I got some or put on some G-Loc R6 pads here recently, and I was just gonna take out the car, just kind of quickly discuss these G-Loc pads. They seem to work really well. They're just loud. And loud's very much just an understatement. They're very loud. They're not squeaky, they're very screechy. I've put about 200 miles on these, give or take. And I will say that the longer I've used them, the louder they became. So much so that they probably bother those around you when you're on the street. Granted, G-Loc's website does say that they're not intended for street use. And I would agree with that. I have went ahead and ordered the GS1 pads for street use, and hopefully they'll be in soon. I do have an autocross coming up this coming weekend. I will be using these pads at the autocross. Enjoy a few of these clips coming up. It's actually me taking the car on some back roads to give these pads a try to see how they do. If you didn't hear the screech at the very beginning of this video, you're getting ready to hear it right now. It's very audible. It's much more audible inside the car. I'm sure it's much more audible as you're driving around the streets. Now for the fun part of the drive. This is where it gets a little bit curvy and where I was able to push the car just a little bit harder. Previously there was a lot of salt, gravel, things like that on the road just from the previous snow. There's still some rocks and gravel and salt on the road, but I just pushed it just slightly a bit harder to see how the brake's done. As the brakes get harder, they get quieter, they start to perform really well. There was zero fade. The G-Loc brake pads, for this purpose, they're come very highly recommended, and I have to say they've done excellent. This video, I'm going to kind of touch on a little bit of a noise I've been dealing with in the front suspension, and I've really just noticed this, I guess, in the last week or so, really since I put the G-Loc brakes on. And I was just really kind of listening to the squeak, or just seeing if that was actually a normal noise for these R6 brake pads. But anyways, it's a clunking noise, so I'm going to kind of go through some of my diagnostics that I originally started thinking that it was, which was the end links. But since then, or since I've actually kind of played around with this a little bit, I actually did discover I needed some new end links. I've since replaced those with just some quick replacements from Rock Auto, some Moog end links, just something quick for the autocross upcoming this weekend. Maybe later on I'll upgrade to some Steeda adjustable end links, but right now I think the Moog will do just fine. I have yet to test drive it to see if that is the fix. I'm hoping to do that in the next day or so before the autocross. I think that it is. They feel a lot more sturdy, and honestly, I feel like the end links I took off the car were pretty worn. Anyways, I'll show you a little bit of the clips of me trying to diagnose this issue, and I'll end with just some B-roll of the car of how it sits right now. But as always, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all stay for the next video. I'll show some clips of the autocross from this coming weekend. And of course, Riverside is coming up at the end of the month, so I hope that y'all stay tuned for that. See y'all next time.
All right, guys, I've had a little bit of a clunk since I got the Ford Performance track struts put on, so I'm actually just going to go through and tighten these sway bar end links a little bit. That's what I'm going to do next. I've already tightened the top nut, so I don't know if there's anything really causing it. I don't think there's anything really wrong. Everything seems tight. Of course, Wicked Performance does really good work, so I don't think that's anything of the issue. I mean, the sway bar end links could be going bad. That's a possibility. They are the stock ones. So if that's the case, then I'll upgrade these, of course, and go from there. So let's just see if we can get these a little bit tighter. 85 foot-pounds is what they're supposed to be, and kind of go from there. All right, I don't know how much of this you can see. I have an 18, and then I have a 17 on the back side, a 17 socket. And 18, of course, the torque wrench, 85 foot-pounds. I don't know if I'll be able to get this very easily or not. It's a very awkward position. So from what I can tell, it's pretty tight. So it does seem like everything's tight on that side. This is the driver's side. I'm actually gonna check the passenger side, and I mean, that's really all I got. On, of course, the noise that it's making. Now, I did put the G-Loc pads in, the R6s, I think they are. And, again, that could be making some noise, who knows. Going over a bump, I know that sounds a little wild, but you can probably hear that. I'll discuss the G-Loc pads if I haven't already in another video, or maybe during this video. I am going to switch to the GS1s. These are just a little bit way too loud for the purpose I'll be intending to use them. They squeak all the time. I might throw a clip or two in there of that. The rotor wear seems okay on them so far, but just for the intended use, I do want to use them probably for this autocross that's coming up this coming weekend. But after that, I do plan on putting the GS1s on it until track day, when I am going to use the R12s and R10s. R12s up front, R10s in the rear. But for everyday use, for at least the Mustang application, R6s are just way too much. Anyways, let's move to the passenger side, check the sway bar end link, see how tight it is. We may drive it today, tomorrow, at some point. I do plan on driving it. I do plan on actually washing the car. As you can see, it's rather salty, it's rather dirty. Even though it's been sunny here recently, there wasn't a lot of rain to get the salt off the roads. I'm gonna wash it, hand wash it, clean it up a little bit, and I may take it for a drive, just to kind of see if this fixed the issue. Before at least the autocross next weekend. It's just very loud on the street. I don't think people like it too much when you're driving. But anyways, let's check the passenger side.